G'day ladies and gents, welcome to Tom Clancy's Hawks with Mags. So as most of you are aware, I recently spent some time offline due to moving house, so I haven't had an internet connection. In that time, a lot of the games that I normally cover are heavily online based, so I haven't been able to play them, so I decided I'd take the opportunity to have a bit of a walk down memory lane and give Hawks a bit of a bash. Now this is a game that I actually haven't played since it was brand new, so at this time I think it was released in around 2009. So we're looking at a 6-year-old title here.
Hawks Flight, this is Citadel. I'll be your flight controller for this mission. I have you on my scopes at the Mexican border, bearing 0, 9er, 0, and 30 miles. By order of the Pentagon, you are now authorized to enter Mexican airspace to locate and destroy rebel ground units that have been probing the U.S. border. Your patrol will follow a series of waypoints marked on your TAC map. At each waypoint, you will engage and destroy any rebel units in the area.
Hawks Flight copies, Citadel. We're ready to turn and burn.
I'm going to be quiet during some of the dialogue in this because the writing is awful on a level that you have to hear.
Roger that, Citadel. Okay guys, let's go to work.
Now this is the first mission in the Hawks campaign. We're taking out rebel targets in Mexico. We're flying the F-18 Hornet. You don't actually get an aircraft selection for the first mission, and we're playing on elite difficulty level, which is the highest difficulty level available in Hawks. Now if you're expecting any realistic flight handling in this game, if you've never seen Hawks before, you're not going to find it here. Hawks is a perfect example of a pure flight arcade game. There is nothing realistic about the handling of the aircraft or the way they control. Ammunition is pretty much unlimited. As you can see in the lower right hand side of the screen, I'm currently carrying 131 J-Strike missiles. It's the only missile I am carrying on this aircraft. I find the damage potential of the J-Strike a rather interesting thing as well. It has the capability to destroy an Abrams tank in a single hit, but will require 2 hits to take down an Su-27 flanker.
Good shooting. Proceed to the second waypoint.
Roger, thanks.
The graphics are an interesting thing with this game as well. The aircraft models have not aged well. They look a little chunky, not smooth where they should be. But the environment doesn't actually look too bad for a flight sim. Like, the environment isn't great, but I have seen much worse out of vastly more recent games. The user interface, on the other hand, looks absolutely horrendous. You can see from its design that this was a game that was clearly designed with consoles in mind, and not only that, it was designed obviously in the early life of the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. It may have even started its design development during the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox era.
Any rebel vehicles can be engaged on site.
I've been making Mexico City look like the set from a Michael Bay film, and he finally decides to tell me that I can engage targets on sight.
Looks like the rebels are putting up a heck of a fight. You know, I heard from one of my special forces buddies that they've got guys operating inside Mexico right now.
Rebel convoy bearing 242, range 60 miles. You're clear to engage.
We have a tally on the convoy. Engaging now.
The explosions look very copy-paste, just looking in the background there where the tanks are engaging ground forces, but those smoke effects are actually quite impressive considering the age of the game. From a gameplay standpoint, what you see is pretty much what you get here. You press W to accelerate the aircraft, you press the S key to decelerate the aircraft, deploy the air brakes. You really only have 3 speeds. The aircraft handles itself in this area. The flight control of the aircraft, there is no turbulence, there's no drag, there's no real compressibility. You turn faster when you move slower, you don't turn as fast when you move faster. But regardless of how fast you move, you never lose control of the aircraft or lose the ability to dogfight. If you take your hands off the controls at any time, the aircraft will hold that pitch angle or that roll angle and maintain at that direction permanently until you touch the controls again. Gravity also has very little effect on the aircraft. The plane will have very little change in speed, whether you're going straight vertical into the sky or whether or not you roll it over and dive straight to the ground.
What I'm about to tell you is classified. We have a ghost recon team operating in the city, assisting the Mexican military. They're pinned down by rebel tanks in a plaza near the city marketplace. If we don't do something fast, they're going to be overrun. They need air support fast, and you're the men to do it. Citadel is downloading the Ghost's current position on your TAC map. They're under attack by enemy armor and need air support fast. Ghost Lead will designate targets for you once you're on station. Your designation is FAR support. Now go get them.
So glad your wingman happened to tell you a few moments before that there are apparently US operatives on the ground.
Engaging now. Direct hit on the target. That one's finished.
Enemy forces are closing on the Ghosts.
Now, it might sound like I'm being a little bit negative on the game at the moment, but I'm not. I'm just calling them as I see them. I actually really enjoy H.A.W.X. It's a game that never tries to make out it's anything but what it actually is. It's a game that wants you to feel like you're Maverick from Top Gun. In fact, there's actually a mission in the F-14 Tomcat that does a job of trying to do exactly that. It wants you to feel like you're the ace of aces, a total badass that's going to rule the sky and destroy everything that he faces. And why are Rebel forces using Apache attack helicopters?
I've got Rebel helos active in your area. Engage at will.
You know what, actually forget about it. That's probably a really dumb question to ask in a game where my Hornet can carry 132 missiles into battle.
I need this target taken out!
Support is on the way.
This is Ghost Lead! Enemy tanks are closing in! Mitchell! Mitchell! Respond!
Hold it together, man. We'll keep them off your back.
Now, this is an interesting thing to point out. The actual building models in this game are modelled as solid objects, so unlike in games like War Thunder where you can actually put cannon shells and rockets and bombs straight through the side of buildings and hit the vehicles on the other side, the buildings here will actually block line of sight and prevent you from being able to hit ground targets, which is why I'm pulling vertical straight over the top of these tanks and firing down in between the buildings. It's little things like this that make me wonder how a game that was designed in, 2009, or in design before that and released in 2009, can get little details like this correct, but games that are still in active development in 2015 still get it wrong.
There are no enemy forces around the Ghosts. Enemy attack helos inbound. Clear to engage.
Well, here comes more Apaches. Better go over and deal with those quickly. As you've seen so far, H.A.W.X's combat is pretty much a giant air-based horde mode. You fly to a waypoint, you hold the waypoint either defending something within it or just trying to eliminate all waves of enemy forces that come into that waypoint, and from that point you progress on to the next waypoint and do it again. In some missions you will be required to destroy a ground structure that will require a very particular weapon in order to be able to achieve that kill, and that weapon will be given to you in the briefing during the loadout phase at the start of the mission. Other missions you will get escort missions, where your job for the entire mission is to simply keep the hordes, the waves of enemy aircraft or enemy vehicles away from a series of targets as they're moving around the map. The sole exclusion to these are the stealth missions, and I believe from memory there are only 2. Now, these missions you're flying as specialist stealth aircraft, you generally are trying to strike down enemy radar installations, and the game gives you a 3D holographic tunnel that you have to fly through. If you fly on the outside of that tunnel, you will be targeted by surface-to-air missiles and destroyed. So you've got to fly this looping, rolling roller coaster through this tunnel across a section of map, and each time you get into a drop zone, you have to strike a ground target, destroying a radar installation, before continuing the roller coaster through to the next point. I do remember around the time H.A.W.X came out there were a lot of negative reviews around these missions, but I remember actually really enjoying them. It was fun flying the tunnel.
That was some outstanding work, Crenshaw. But my guys aren't out of the woods yet. I'm sending in a helo to extract Mitchell's team now, but they'll need you to escort them safely back across the border.
Copy that. Rolling in now.
So we've escorted the guys on the ground, they're about to turn into a helicopter, and now we've got to escort the helicopter out of the area.
Hawks Flight, this is Citadel. I'm picking up bandits dead ahead. Rebel aircraft are moving to intercept. Engage the bandits, Hawks. Take them out.
They're dead and they don't even know it. Looks like the rebels want payback for taking out their tanks.
These Rebel Mexican forces really do have a wide array of equipment. They're using everything from Boeing Apache attack helicopters through to Russian-built Su-27s. I don't actually recognise their tank. Looking at the little hitbox in the top left-hand corner, whatever it was, had twin main cannons. Now, as you can see, even the aircraft combat is not particularly complicated. The only real difficulty to it is that the aircraft are moving fast enough that it requires a little bit more turning to get guns on, and sometimes if they're in the right position it can take slightly longer to get a lock. Also, it takes 2 missiles to destroy an aircraft rather than 1.
These Gophers don't know who the hell they're messing with.
I'm picking up Rebel fighters attempting to intercept Black Hawk 5. Clear to engage.
We're on it. Engaging now.
If you actually listen closely, you'll hear the voices for the dialogue clipping over one another slightly as they come to an end and a new one starts. This is because I'm killing targets so rapidly the game is actually having trouble keeping up with the dialogue segments that make up the storyline for the mission. This is actually kind of sad when you keep in mind that this is the highest difficulty level you can set the game to. It's actually probably my sole complaint with this game. It is mindless fun, and if mindless fun in a plane is what you're looking for, H.A.W.X is a very cheap way of getting it, but I just wish it was that little bit more challenging.
I got your back, talent. Let's do this. You're almost home free, Ghost Leader. Just a few more seconds.
Oh, finally, one of them's going to shoot back. Well, that was easy to avoid.
Weapon deployed.
Enemy plane shot down. Go vertical, talent. Select zone 4 and grab some. That's the last of the bandits. Citadel on the Ghost Airborne. Ghost Lead, this is Hawk's Flight. What's your status?
We're clear, Hawk's Flight. Thanks for the rescue. We won't forget this, I promise you.
This is Citadel. My scopes are clear. Black Hawk 5 is exiting the zone now.
Hey, Talon, what are you gonna do after they disband the squadron? Transfer?
I've been thinking about going into the private sector. Artemis Global Security is recruiting. Offered me $100 grand as a sign-up bonus.
Hey, Crenshaw,
Why is it always private military contractors in Tom Clancy games? Every single time.
This is General Keating. I want to thank you once again for pulling my men out of the fire. We owe you one. Just between you and me, I think the Air Force is making a big mistake. The way the world is going, we'll need your skills more than ever.
Well, ladies and gents, that was the first mission of Tom Clancy's H.A.W.X back from 2009. I actually really enjoyed flying this out. It was a bit of a walk down memory lane. It's just the kind of game you can sit back and, blow an hour or two on, just kill some time and have a little bit of fun and a bit of a laugh and not have to think too much. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.